hey, it's early February. We are finally tired of the winter, I think. And of course, everybody always talks about it. I was at Tops the other night and I go, are you sick of people talking about the weather? He said, yeah, because everybody comes up and talks about the weather. Anyway, Dave Frabrizio is a great community leader, the chairman of the Niagara Falls Veterans Memorial Commission. And Dave had the vision of the Veterans Memorial, which many of you have seen in Hyde Park. And we want to talk about it kind of in timing for the holidays coming up. We've got Valentine's Day, we've got Easter. A great tribute to your favorite veteran is to get his name on this Veterans Memorial.
And Memorial Day, believe it or not.
Memorial
Day is coming up.
Right in the middle of that, that's right.
Remember one thing, we're one day closer to spring today.
Right. Tell us about the monument and the entire park concept that you've had for how long? When did you start this?
Actually, officially started in June of 2007. And I'll tell this story, and I think many people already heard it. It really started over a controversy of whether or not we should name streets after veterans who were killed in action.
Okay.
And we spoke at the Niagara Falls City Council meeting one night, and we didn't, as veterans, we didn't think it was proper, that was the right tribute to pay to a fallen warrior from Niagara Falls to name a street. And we didn't feel, because 6 months after you name a street, you really don't know the significance of it.
Right.
It's just another name on a street sign. We had spoke and we proposed that a Veterans Memorial be built to these veterans that were killed in action from the city of Niagara Falls. There isn't any. And in particular, Lieutenant John Paul Bobo, the United States Marine Corps, who was killed in action in Vietnam, is a Medal of Honor recipient. And there is absolutely nothing named in his honor. There's not a street, there's not a tree, there's not a flagpole, not a building. Okay? Now, having said that, Niagara University does have a building named after John Bobo, because he graduated from Niagara U. The Marine Corps has several buildings named after him because he's a Medal of Honor recipient. But Niagara Falls, their native son, has nothing. So that kind of went into this whole mix about building a Veterans Memorial to honor these fallen warriors. We formed a committee. Mickey Rimmon, who was instrumental in the formation of the committee, myself, and then there was Kenny Hamilton came into the picture, and then there was Kenny Gerg and so forth. Originally there were 7 commissioners. We called ourselves commissioners. We didn't know what else to call ourselves.
Band of Brothers was already taken.
Yeah.
All right.
And but at the same time, we didn't want to make it a political organization. We didn't want politics to interfere with our plans, our design, our vision, and our execution of this monument. We moved forward. There were originally 7 of us, and everybody on this commission has a certain talent or skill or expertise that they bring to the table. And that's what makes us kind of unique in terms of how we executed our vision. Mickey Rimmon, who's my vice chairman, shares the same vision I do. Is a good leader, executioner. Okay. Tommy Robbins, who's one of the other commissioners, came on board later. Excellent note taker. Very precise in his notes, and those are critical because you need that for reference.
You're throwing ideas out there like crazy.
Yeah. And I'm a terrible note taker. I mean, I can't take notes. This guy is meticulous when he does it. Dave Vendetti, he's our treasurer. Dwayne Frost, he has experience in construction, brings that focus to the table. Rich Zaplinski, involved with a lot of different veterans affairs. Kenny Gerg, same thing, he was a commander of the Veterans VFW. Ken Hamilton, he does a lot of our PR type stuff. Stan Zimmerman, he's in the school system. So all these guys, we all came together with a common purpose, but we all have a certain discipline that we bring to the table. And I think that's what's made the Niagara Falls Veterans Memorial Commission so successful in the execution of this monument. Now, the concept, I mean, and we toyed around, what are we going to do? You know, where are we going to put this thing? We wanted to focus on a location that was central to the public. It was constantly going to be in the public's eye, and it was easily accessible. We didn't want to just stick this thing in the middle of somewhere and somebody drives by, what is that over there? Okay? And at the same time, we didn't want to just put a tombstone up in the middle of a park that says dedicated to the Niagara Falls veterans killed in action.
Right.
Why? Don't even bother. It's not even worth the effort.
Go big or go home, and you guys did.
That's right. And I had proposed, I said, you know, we need to build some. Niagara Falls is a national site. It's an international site. All right? People come here from all over the world. Why not build a veterans memorial that depicts that? Let's build something on a national scale. And then we went to work. We had several public meetings, get ideas. Kenny Gerg, one of the commissioners, one of his talents is he could draw. He was a draftsman and an artist. And he came up with some concepts, and one of them was the wall that you see there now. And then we talked about how about since we're honoring the warriors that were killed in action, how about something on the replica, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier? So this whole concept now starts to come together. The ideas are starting to gel, and wasn't quite finished yet in terms of what our vision and the picture in our mind would be. We went out and we solicited, how do you build this thing? What do you build it out of? We're going to do it out of marble. None of us had any experience in stone. And we went to a couple more monument places, and a lot of them says, hey, we put cemetery stones in, what you're looking at is huge. We don't get into this stuff. Well, we did find a company in Lackawanna, New York, Stone Art Memorial Company, who had built one in Lackawanna, a pretty impressive veterans memorial. And we went there. And on one of his easels, he had this Roman arch, which was designed for a mausoleum. And we looked at this thing and says, that's it.
The trumpets
We
went
hit.
off. That was it.
So I asked him for the picture, and I still have it. And they made up an artist rendering of what this monument could look like. And not one of the 9 commissioners said, well, let's change this. It's what we adopted, right on site. That was it. That's what we're building. We didn't even ask him how much this thing was going to cost. In fact, he told us, he says, you don't want ever use marble because marble doesn't hold up to weather. You know, if you're doing it indoors, that's one thing. Outdoors, never. In fact, he said the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Washington they're having a lot of problems with it because of the weather.
Wow.
It's soft. He says you need to use granite. So, and that's an important point. I'm going to tell you something. This is one of the largest, probably the second largest granite monument outside of Washington, D.C. in this country. We've got 1,800 tons of solid granite sitting at Hyde Park. Now, I just want to transgress. We picked Hyde Park because that was a focal point. You have 2 major arteries. You have Route 62, Pine Avenue, and Hyde Park Boulevard. There's a lot of detail that went into how that monument is facing. Okay? And if you notice, it's off center, and there's a purpose for that. Because the next phase, or I should probably say that probably the 3rd phase of this, is the Iwo Jima Memorial, which will go on the corner of Hyde Park and Pine Avenue where the sundial is. we're going to move that to another location, but in its place will be the Iwo Jima Memorial. Now, many people ask, why a Marine Corps monument? This is supposed to be to all veterans. The fact of the matter is, the Battle of Iwo Jima in World War II was fought by the United States Marine Corps, United States Navy, United States Army, the United States Army Air Force, and the Coast Guard. So when Admiral Nimitz said, uncommon valor was a common virtue, he meant that for everybody that participated in that invasion and in that battle. And that's why we picked that, because it denotes the valor of the American warrior. And it faces the main monument. So there's a lot of thought that went into this design, this little project. It's an expensive project. We've gotten grants. We've got about $700,000 in grants, $750,000 in grants from both the City of Niagara Falls and the New York State Assembly. But we've raised the rest of it on our own. And you're looking at about $2.5 million project when we get done, and maybe more, probably pushing $3 million. We've already gotten international recognition and believe it or not, I didn't know this organization existed, but these are the descendants of the French resistance fighters who participated in the D-Day Normandy invasion. They're going to come here in 2015 on D-Day, and they want to do a ceremony.
Wow.
And they happen to see this monument, a picture of this monument, on the internet. Now, we're putting up a website, but we haven't gotten it up yet. So I don't know exactly how they found it, but they sent me an email and asked if it would be okay, and we said absolutely, you know. So it's a great project. It's a lot went behind it.
So your Tomb of the Unknown Soldier replica has the listed killed in action from Niagara Falls.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
The wall, which and many of you have seen it, has any veteran.
Yeah. Yes.
Serving now, alive and retired, deceased.
It doesn't matter. And
in
fact, it doesn't. You don't have to be from the City of Niagara Falls to have a veteran's name engraved on that wall. We're going to change the name, and we're going to call it the United States Veterans Memorial at Niagara Falls, rather than the Niagara Falls Veterans Memorial. The letter kind of depicts a localized memorial, and you must be from Niagara Falls to be on it. We've got veterans from all over the country. I mean, from Alaska to Florida, California, Arizona, Montana, Maryland, you name it, we've got veterans on it. We're going to have a huge celebrity who wants his name on it. I can't reveal his name right now, but once it's engraved on there, I'm sure everybody will know who he is.
Right.
So we want to change the name, and it really depicts the national image that we tried to create.
That sounds great. That sounds
great. We'll keep Niagara Falls in there, but it's a national monument now.
And again, your concept is you're creating a park. You're creating the place where people can. It isn't just get out of the car and go to this tombstone and then get out. You've got the Iwo Jima statue will be on the corner, and it's really a great utilization of the Hyde Park area there.
Yeah, and it's in part of this phase one, we want to build a reception center, and so people come in. Of course, we'll have restrooms there and so forth. And really, the Niagara Falls City Council were really gracious to us. They granted us 6.5 acres of land to develop there, and we're doing our best to make it a first-class operation.
All right, let's get to that. Oh, go ahead.
It's a destination. I mean, people come to Niagara Falls to see the falls.
Exactly.
Some come to see the casino.
Right.
But I can assure you, there's many, many, many people, veterans groups, they'll come to Niagara Falls to see this memorial.
Sure.
It's going to be a destination
that's great.
for a lot of people.
It won't be a disappointment for people.
No, and it'll be done right, the way it's supposed to.
All right, to get your name on, to get your favorite veteran's name on, whether it's your your best buddy in Afghanistan right now, or your grandfather, or whatever? What does someone have to do?
We have applications that are available. I'll give you a phone number. You can call us, and we'll get the applications out to you. Either we mail them to you, or if you can't drive, we'll bring it to the house and pick it up. You know,
Right.
we've done that. The number you want to call is area code 716-680-2494. And
Operators
I'll answer
are
that.
waiting now.
operators are waiting now. Well, actually,
It'll
they're
ring
not
in his
because-
pocket right here.
Yeah, I don't want it to ring in my pocket. But the applications are available. Now, having said that, we also recognize the fact that many of the veterans, and we have World War I veterans' names on this monument, World War II, Korea. Many of those records have been destroyed. There was a
Right.
fire at the National Record Center.
Right.
And I've had several people call and say, I can't find any documents my dad had, we don't know what happened to him, so on and so forth. You call me and we'll work with you. We'll help you get those records, and we'll get those veterans' names on there. No veteran's gonna be left behind, let me put it that way.
There you go.
Okay?
Great.
We'll work with the families.
What goes on? The name and their
Branch of service.
Branch of
Yeah.
service.
No rank, we've got a 4-star general's name on the monument.
No dates.
A veteran is a veteran, and the 463 names of the veterans who were killed in action are first and foremost. So we decided not to have rank. Everybody played an important part. You don't have to be a war veteran, whether you served in peacetime, you served in a war, you served in combat, you didn't serve in combat, doesn't matter. Our feeling was a veteran is a veteran, and no matter what you did in the United States military, everybody contributed something to the preservation of liberty and the defense of this country. So it's open to all veterans who serve the United States military honorably.
How many names do you have now?
We have over 1,500 names on the granite wall, the gray granite, and it's going up. We get calls every day. Christmas time, we get really a lot of phone calls. You could tell the major holidays, you know.
Oh, sure.
We'll start getting calls, and believe it or not, Valentine's Day. People want to, hey, you know, my husband was in the military, I'd like to give him something, and,
Exactly.
you know, this would be a great thing.
Yeah, if you already bought a star for somebody, forget that.
Yeah.
Let's get the name on the thing.
And their names will
I think
be
it's a great-
in perpetuity for many hundreds of years.
And you put
It's
them on
never gonna go
in
away.
batches.
Yes, and we can only engrave, and believe me, I'm learning a lot about stonework. The weather has to be at least 50 degrees to prevent any chipping of the granite. So we'll engrave now probably in May sometime for Memorial Day. So all those names that we received from Veterans Day till the end of April will go on for Memorial Day. We do have a cutoff for the Memorial Day engraving, and that'll be probably mid-April, because we have to coordinate all this with the engraver and so forth. But if you're interested, get those applications into us, and we'll log them in, and they'll go on the template immediately. So
Great.
the engraver will have
And the
it.
cost?
It's $125, and part of that goes to the engraver, and the rest goes to building the monument, completing the monument.
Great.
And there's a lot of work that has to be done yet. We haven't finished the monument. Landscaping has to be in. We found out that we have a drainage issue there. We're gonna have to put in some kind of a basin and drain system in there to clear that out. But we do have the trees are in place, so we're moving along. But it takes money. We've had some great contributors, great donors. I won't get into a whole list of names, but a lot of the companies, and local companies, construction companies, trucking companies in the area have been
Sure.
great with us. But
I'll tell you,
still
you know,
costs.
the way you look at some of the businesses in town, if you own a business, that might be a nice opportunity for employees that you have, is to provide matching funds. Say if you have a veteran in your family, we'll give you matching funds and help you honor that person. And it is a lot more than about the veteran. The families that can go and see this name, it's a great comfort. My father was in the Normandy invasion, first on the beach at Utah as the Demolition Corps of Engineers group. They demined the mines at that Utah beach. So then they went and blew up some weirs that Rommel had flooded the area or whatever. He doesn't have a final resting place. He passed away 10 years ago, and we put him in the global water system, his ashes, and we're very confident that he's all around the world in the bodies of water. But my mom has the town of Tonawanda Veterans Memorial to go to. She's within blocks. You can go there and see his name, and it gives the family, it gives the relatives a great sense of pride and a great sense of connection.
It absolutely does. And on that same note, Greg, when we first started this project, I told you we had public meetings. And I think one of the most moving experiences I encountered and really drove the determination to build this monument, a lady came up to me at the end of the meeting and she says, my father was killed at the Battle of the Bulge. And I was born, and I don't remember, 2 days before or 2 days after he was killed. And I never knew my dad. He's buried in Belgium. I could never afford to go to Belgium. And a monument like this would give me closure in my life. It would give me a place to go, to be with my dad. And that, that was so moving. Even now, my eyes well up. But I just want you to know that sarcophagus is really a living memorial. And the reason I say that, before we sealed it, we have the personal effects of many of those fallen warriors that are encased in that monument, in that sarcophagus. This woman, the day we were going to seal it, brought me a box that had her father's medals in it, a picture of her father, the letter from the Department of the Army, I think it was, or the War Department at that time, informing her mother that he was killed in action. And she says, I have no children, so when I pass away, somebody's going to come in my house, clean it out, probably throw this stuff in the garbage. She says, what would be a better place than to have my father memorialized forever? And we encased that in there. And we've got dog tags in there. We've got name plates. We have a rose that was at the funeral of one of the fallen warriors. There's just a lot of small memorabilia. The original construction drawings are in there. And there's an evergreen. And the evergreen, as most veterans know, depicts that you're never forgotten, that you're ever green. Okay, so that is a living memorial. And believe it, many of those families whose sons and husbands and fathers, brothers' names are on that sarcophagus come there every year. And they cried, they touched their names,
Trace it with the Vietnam Wall.
It brings some closure, I think, to some of the families.
Sure,
It knows that their family members remembered.
Well, I want to start the Valentine's thing. I want to get my dad's name on, so we're in on that. Give me an application for that.
I'll do that.
I also want to offer to, because we're on Niagara Hub here, this is what starts things. We'll, and to start the corporate kind of challenge, if we donate $50 for 3 names, the first 3 people that contact us at the hub, it'll cost them $65, and we'll match $50 of that. So hopefully we can get three faithful hub supporters, and we'll get 4 more names up there. And I love the concept of all veterans, all levels of service, and at all times to dedicate your life to the service is a great thing, and this is the least we can do. You're a great guy, Dave. Thank you.
No, I'm not. I'm just another guy coming along.
Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
very
much for inviting me here today.